Your average player can play Stella by Starlight in B flat. But great players can play it in any key. How about D major? Or how about E major? Or what about G flat major? In today's lesson, I'm going to show you how you can play this standard or any other standard in any key without transposing. Now, why do we need to be able to play these tunes in every key? You may run into a vocalist that comes in and says, can we take it up a step? Can we take it down? I need to change the key. We got to be ready for that. But in the words of the great Ellis Marsalis, you don't really know these tunes until you know them in the key of music. Now let's talk about how are we going to learn these tunes in the key of music and be able to play them in any key. The way we're not going to do it is by transposing, and the way we're not going to be doing it is by memorizing this in every key. That's too much. Ain't nobody got time for that. But I'm going to show you a couple little tricks, and it all starts with really knowing the melody and really knowing the melody of the root movement. So we've got the melody goes on from there. We're going to learn that part first. And we're breaking it down to just the melody, the actual melody. And once we get to that place, everything that we've played up to there, you'll notice it's all diatonic within the major scale. In fact, almost this entire melody, except for two places, is diatonic within the major scale. So that's something that we can take to all the different keys. Right? Okay, but let's go back to our original key. So we've got the melody, and we're thinking about this. The melody starts on the tonic, right? And then it immediately goes down to the major seventh. We're moving diatonically within that major scale. So we're hearing that, we're learning that. We're not memorizing the notes. We're learning the tones and how they sound, how those intervals interact. So we're going root 7, 6, 7, root 5. Okay, we're kind of seeing that pattern recognition. So that first part of the melody is all within here and then down to the root. Let's look at the left hand and get that going so that we get that connection between the root and the melody. I learned this from the great Ray Brown. Such a pleasure to be able to play with him in 1995 and rehearse with him a little bit. And he showed me this concept by playing the bass line, and then he was singing the melody. You know, he's like, da-na, doo scooby da, with his fantastic bass line. Boop, boop, away, boop, doopy, ha. And then he said, you know what, it's easy. You take it to whatever key you want to do it. If you're going to do it in D flat, da-na, boop, doopy, bop. So he was hearing and was showing me how to hear that melody on top of the root. Well, he wasn't talking about what the chords were, what the voices. It was all about the root movement and that melody it created and how it interacted with the actual melody. Okay? So back to the original key. Where does the root start? The first chord starts on that E, right? That's a tritone away from our tonic. But that's a hard interval to hear. So what we can do is think about and hear the fifth. And you can always tell if an interval or a movement is difficult is if you can sing it. It's a lot harder to sing. No, no. So we can go up to the fifth, and then go down a half step. So I'm kind of hearing this before we start. Then all you have to do is slide down a half step. And so whatever key you're in, if you're in the key of G, the 5, and I know the melodies, I'm sliding down, right? I'm not doing any kind of transposing. I'm listening, I'm hearing this, I'm moving through the lineage of the tune entirely in that key, okay? Back to the original key. So now we know we're starting here, half step below. And what is that? That's a perfect fourth, that movement from E to A, okay? And so we can connect that with a pattern that we know, a 2 to 5, half diminished or minor, doesn't matter. We're not worried about the chords yet. We're just getting the root movement. And we're thinking about, well, where is this going? 2 to 5 to D minor, to the 3, right? B flat, C, D. So 2 to 5 to the 3. But then where does it go? Oh, it goes to the actual 2-5. Okay? So that's what makes this tune kind of cool, right? It'd be a lot easier to learn if it was just... But it's not. That's kind of cornier, right? It's here. And actually, fun fact, this isn't even the original changes. This is because I learned this from the Miles Davis live at the Philharmonic recording, My Funny Valentine. I believe the original is something like that, but that's for another video. Okay, so here we go. 2 to 5 to the 3, and then to the actual 2 to 5, C minor 7 to F7. And it still doesn't go to the 1. Where does it go? The root stays the same, becomes another 2-5 to the 4. So before we had a 2 to the 5 to the 3, now we've got a 2 to a 5 to the 4. And then we got this funny little, cool little A flat 7, A flat 13, sharp 11, bridging to get us to the actual 1 chord. Then it goes back to the 2-5. We're not even going to go there yet. So we got it. 2 to 5. Let's just take that part now, and we're going to take this to another key. This is crucial as you're learning or relearning or more deeply learning, like learning this in the key of music now. It's so important to then move to some other keys, preferably ones that are not very closely related from what you're working on as you're learning it. So I'm taking just this first part of the phrase. Not even the full melody, just the first little nugget of the melody, and we're gonna take it somewhere else. Let's take it to D. Now let's take it to G. And you wanna do this quick enough to C. To G. Oh, we did G already. Let's do D flat. You wanna do this quickly enough so that you're not thinking about transposing. So you're never going, okay, B flat. He said to go to D, so that's a major third up. So the first chord is E half diminished. What's a major third? You've already lost the moment if you've done that. We're thinking in relation to the key we're playing. So if we go up to D, I know that melody is diatonic. I know my major scales, right? 1, 5, half step down to that tritone. 2, 5. You can test yourself by singing this root movement. 2, 5. And now we got another 2 to 5 of the 4. Up a perfect fourth. Now to the tonic. Okay? See, I'm hearing this in the key of whatever key that I'm in, really the key of music, so that I'm never thinking about transposing. I'm never stopping vertically and saying, where am I? What am I doing? How do I take this to the other key? I'm trying to live entirely in the new key. Now, this takes some time to do, and you're going to want to work through this slowly. That's why I say we're breaking it down by these smaller segments, right? That's the first part. You might do that one day, then the next day. Pretty soon. Now we're all the way at the bridge. I'm not even thinking about the key I'm in. But I can hear that. E flat major, that brings me back. All right, back to the original that we all know, B flat major. So after you got that first part and you've gone to a couple different keys, you can bring it back and add in just the shell, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. What's the shell? 3rd and the 7th. All right, and we're just taking that same segment. course, with the shell, we always have the choice. It's the third on top or third on the bottom. That's just kind of however you want to do it. A lot of times where you are with the melody and where you are with your hands is going to dictate that. Before you even try to do these three zones, and let's take it somewhere else. What's a key we haven't done yet? Maybe A. Before you even do that, we're going to be taking these A major, right? 1, 5, half step down. We're not going to even play the melody. We're going to sing the melody. I don't know why I'm singing so high, but I am. You know, pretty soon, you're going to be able to do this stuff without even thinking about it, okay? There's a certain point where you have to kind of jump off the ledge and just be like, I'm going to try this, and you're going to make mistakes, and that's okay. But just try to rely on your ear, build up slowly. Just the root, just the melody, just adding those, just the root. A lot of practice like this is going to help you. So each day you could take that to another place. Let's do one more key, B major. I'm singing that and trying to hear that the same way I heard. Key of music. It's the same relationships between every key. Oh no, I'm doing it. So the only thing I'm thinking about, if anything, and trying to hear is where I'm being brought in and being centered with that major scale, right? And you can go out of time if that helps you. Not sure, just keep working through it. So there I was kind of unsure, and I was just like, let me try to hear the root, and then I can hear the inner humming. A little bit unsure, so just try to hear. All right, so let's commit to taking our time at really learning to play in the key of music. Happy practice.